All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. Sorry there was no report earlier, but we basically didn't have enough time for it. So, my apologies there. However, I had recorded and had that report all ready to go, so we're going to add that one to what was happening tonight and give you the report all together as one. So, this one is basically all of the uncertainty, I guess, is the best way to kind of put what's going on. Is peace going to happen in Eastern Europe? The market is doing strange things. It's anomalous to the point where Michael Burry, you might know him from The Big Short, is basically getting out and only doing private things for friends because he just doesn't understand where things are going. Doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's necessarily good either. It means that things are strange. The Venezuela strike thing is strange as well. We don't know what's going on with that. We're hearing that it's going to happen at any moment. And then we hear that they're going to have a phone call and talk and chat it up like buddies. We've got B-52s rolling around in Southcom. We've got F-35s going. The Venezuelans are pushing out their Su-30s and other stuff. Meanwhile, you've got volcanoes that are 12,000 years old erupting randomly, to which, of course, on the short I made, because, YouTube, you got to make shorts. It's just what they want to do. I personally don't like shorts. And if you were here last night, you'll know that I read a little piece about how short form videos is basically making us as a species more stupid. However, I'm not going to stop that anytime soon by protesting it, so I'll join in and add to our idiocy making. But a tough guy came in and said, God, what is it, 12,000? So what? Like, get prepared for what? So let's put some things into perspective. There's only one other volcano in recorded history that has erupted after thousands of years, and that was Fagradalsfjall Mountain in 2021 in Iceland. It was dormant for 6,000 years. The eruption, which started in March 2021, created a fissure that spewed lava, so the activity is small, doesn't really have a threat to human life. The Kali Guba, or whatever the heck it was in Ethiopia, has put out a column of pyroclastic whatever that's about 3 miles in height and going currently over the Middle East. What's my point? There's a lot of things that are not exactly normal out there right now, friends, okay? So you can sit there and be an online hard ass, or you can kind of accept the fact that we're in uncharted territories, and it's probably a good idea to stack stock and stick to a freaking plan and have things ready, because we don't know what's going on, whether that's financial, war, geopolitics, new golden era by the golden-topped president of the United States. I don't know. But if you watched my video earlier today on PrepperNow, it basically was all this uncertainty is all over the place. There's really not much we can do about it except have like a persistent doing things to make our advantage in where we are as a family, as a person, as a whatever, to get better. That's basically the job. So hopefully you're listening to that, and we'll let the hard asses hard ass, and we'll see where things go. But I can tell you right now, as a 52-year-old man, there's a lot of strange things going on, and I'm acting accordingly. Hopefully you are too. So, all right. Thanks for joining me here on the platform of Borg. And if you could hit that like button and, do things and stuff, it might help. Probably not, but whatever. So we're going to kick out a little bit of intel on things that are going on after hours of putting in as my cats in the background destroy things because they're all over the place. As we live in a garage right now, and I'm living in a garage because, well, we don't know what's going on. And I thought it'd probably be smart to sell my house while things are at the top. Little info there. 53% of all homes in the last year have gone down in price. there's other market problems there as well. So, all right, let's get started. There's your little opener. Thanks for being here. God bless. Here we go. Pakistan carried out airstrikes on several residential areas in Afghanistan's Khost province, resulting in killing 9 children and a woman. According to reports, U.S., Russia have entered into secret negotiations held in Abu Dhabi. Talks are held between U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll and Russian delegation. The discussions took place in Abu Dhabi on Monday evening and were expected to continue through today. Representative Salazar in Venezuela says we're about to go in. We need to go in. Venezuela for the American oil companies will be a field day, basically telling us where things are going. Sympathy for the country of blue and white in the Middle East is now at an all-time low. It's about popular as Antifa is right now in this country. Voters are angry over what is going on there with their agenda, and that foreign policy has overtaken what they wanted the president to do when they were in Congress, basically focus on America first and not being MIGA. If you're picking up the code, you might not be. But let's just say there's a certain country in the Middle East that some people think that we're a little bit more into helping than our own selves. New satellite imagery shows China's assault barges are undergoing further testing along the country's east coast. Japan's Financial Services Agency will require crypto exchanges to hold liability reserves to compensate users for hacks or security breaches, per Nikkei report, because there's nothing more secure than having your money in crypto and then someone comes along and steals it all. FEC records reveal that Jeffrey Epstein donated $22,000 to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, including $7,000 directly to Schumer's campaigns and another $15,000 to political action committees connected to him. Ukraine has accepted the terms of a peace deal brokered by the United States. There goes my views. I apologize for saying Ukraine, YouTube. FBI is arranging interviews with the seditious 6 Democrats who urged the military and CIA to defy President Trump. EU is going to monitor private chats. The EU reportedly plans to pass controversial chat control legislation without discussion behind closed doors, according to member of the European Parliament Martin Sonnenborn on X. Whoosh. German cities are on the brink and nearly could go bankrupt, according to De Bild. Industrial slump cuts revenue while social costs are soaring. Total deficit is 30 billion euros, and Europe's wallets are, well, they're cracking, as it says here, because things are bad. And further from Representative Salazar about Venezuela, and she's admitting that the U.S. is basically going to be enjoying some new fresh oil from a new source. Venezuela for the American oil companies will be a field day, generating over $1 trillion in economic activity. We're going to be doing a favor for our economy and for our oil companies, she said. Russia is likely to reject Trump's new deal that was amended at Ukraine's request, according to the Washington Post. United Kingdom concludes exercise Pegasus, largest Ronademic simulation in nearly a decade, simulated virus enterovirus EVD68, thought to originate from pigs and primarily killing children. Lovely. Germany's Christmas markets are facing soaring security costs due to recent attacks, with expenses increasing on average of 44% in 3 years. It's another way to go in and kill Christmas. FBI and Department of Justice plan to interview 6 Congress members involved in social media video urging the military members to refuse illegal orders. Problem is that they have not been given technically illegal orders because, well, we wouldn't have judges to challenge everything if they were illegal. And if they were, they would say, well, they're struck down and it wouldn't happen anyway. U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says there is a very good chance that President Trump announces the new Fed chair before Christmas. United States private payrolls have fell by an average of 13,500 per week in the 4 weeks ending on November 8th, up sharply from 2,500 per week in the previous period. Fed must continue cutting rates. The labor market is too weak, and that is really what's going on. The labor market is trash. September PPI inflation rose to 2.7%, above expectations of 2.6. Core PPI inflation fell to 2.6, below expectations of 2.7. PPI inflation remains less of a problem than the weakening labor market. We see December rate cut on its way. Alphabet Google is now up another 4%, and NVIDIA is down 4% on concerns over increased competition. This comes after reports that Meta is considering using Google's AI chips over NVIDIA's. So this is really bad for NVIDIA. Well, there's a link if you want to follow that further in the crisis report, as I link most of this stuff, and you can have a transcript of what's going on Substack, preppernow.substack.com. Gregors Braun, along with several MPs from his political group, published open letters to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Poland's Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski, urging both sides to de-escalate tensions between Poland and Russia. In the message to Lavrov, Braun protested the removal of Polish symbols at the Katyn War Cemetery and appealed for respect, dialogue, and a cooling of diplomatic hostility. What in the God's green earth is that cat doing over there? What's he doing over there? You can't hear it. I don't know if you can. My cat's just over there like dismantling something. I have no clue what it is. They're thrown off. Letter to Sikorski. Braun condemned recent Polish actions toward Russia, particularly restrictions on the Russian consulate, arguing that such measures inflame situation instead of strengthening Poland's security. Massive protest movement against the HTS terrorist regime has been launched throughout the Syrian coast in major cities, including Latakia, Tartus, Banyas, Jabla, and Homs, following attacks by Bedouin irregulars on Alawite and Christian communities in Homs. Tens of thousands of Alawites are present. HTS regime has responded by firing on the protesters. Big problem going on over there in Syria that basically no one's covering, where the regime, which is getting its butt kissed by most Western nations, is really doing some terrible things to Christians. But hey, they're Christians and they can do whatever they want to them because, they're Christians. Former chairman of the World Economic Forum, WEF, and German billionaire Klaus announced on X that he is making an online academy to prepare people for the changes caused by AI. He said that the mission of the Schwab Academy is to prepare people for the tremendous change which will be caused by the transformation of the industrial to the intelligent age. And by intelligent, you're going to be broke communists and he's going to have all the money. Intelligent age is based on a combination of many life-changing technologies like slavery, of course AI, but there is also quantum computing and many other technologies to create the digital panopticon that PrepperNow and others are warning you all about, which will have a tremendous impact on how you live. He'll say good, I'm saying not so good. How we communicate, how we prepare to have those changes now, well, Klaus is there. Klaus. He's there to tell you exactly how things are going to be. Okay, slave? Oldest survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre, one of the worst episodes of racist violence in the U.S. history, has died at age 111, a local official said on Tuesday. U.S. envoy says neither side in Sudan's war accepted latest ceasefire proposal. French authorities say 4 suspects tied to last month's Louvre heist have been taken into custody. Earthquake of magnitude 5.5 has struck Japan's Kyushu region, GFZ has stated. Police have arrested 3 Moroccan men for the alleged sexual assault of an Italian woman in a park in Rome while her boyfriend was forced to watch. Police are still searching for more of the suspects. Just another day in Europe. S&P 500 is entering a corrective phase and could fall 8 to 10%, according to Raymond James. It's warning that S&P 500 may drop 8 to 10% over the next 3 months. November losses, S&P down 2%, NASDAQ over 4%, reflect weakness in tech and overall market breadth. Javed Mirza, firm's technical strategist, says mechanical sell signals in poor market internals indicate an intermediate-term correction. Portfolio managers are reducing risk, favoring staples in value, while any short-term bounce is expected to stall near the 50-day moving average. Mirza views the pullback as a potential buying opportunity in tech, industrials, and basic materials. President Trump says last year's turkey pardons are now null and void because Joe Biden approved them using an auto pen. Mainstream media is now pushing a rumor that Trump is thinking about removing Kash Patel from the FBI director role. I'm sure there's 65,000 videos on YouTube that are going to get pushed through the algorithm. Well, I'm going to say this basically plaintively and not have another word about it. The White House has denied it, and it's utter trash and not true. But then again, you know, you guys come here because you get, well, most things correct in about 12 to 18 hours before everybody else. But don't tell anyone. Okay, Borg? Let's see where we're at on the numbers. So we got like 30 people in here. Oh, they broke me over to 43 people. Thank you so much. Congresswoman Sheila Sheffilis McCormick, accused of stealing $5 million in FEMA funds, allegedly spent part of the money on a 3.14 carat yellow diamond ring worth $109,000. Just another day in government, friends. EPA is now allowing pesticides containing PFAS to be used on food, meaning that forever chemicals will be sprayed directly onto what you eat. Good luck. U.S. Department of Energy releases promotional video for Trump's AI project Genesis mission. Quote, a new revolution begins. Can't wait. Gosh. Can't wait. Trump pardoned Gobble, the turkey for Thanksgiving. He's directed Steve Witkoff to meet with Putin and Secretary of Army Driscoll with Zelensky in the hopes of finalizing a Russia-Ukraine peace deal. Brazil's Supreme Court mandates former President Jair Bolsonaro to begin serving a 27-year sentence today. HP is going to cut 4,000 to 6,000 jobs by the end of fiscal year 2028 due to AI integration. The company estimates it will save approximately $1 billion. Russia is likely to reject Ukraine's agreed peace deal, according to the Washington Post. U.S. President Trump says an investigation has shown that Biden used an auto pen for last year's turkey pardon, determined that last year's turkey pardons are totally invalid, according to Trump. Texas becomes the first state to buy Bitcoin, investing $10 million into its strategic reserve. President of Texas Blockchain Council said it's almost like they're preparing for the balkanization of America. Trump administration is going to slap massive surcharge on non-resident national park visitors. President Trump's meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman last week got tense when they discussed the possibility of Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords and normalizing relations with Israel, according to Axios. And if it's Axios, it's totally the truth. By the way, I don't sanction, believe, or I read all this because this is news from all over the place. Just because it's read here doesn't mean it's going to be absolutely true. But why do we do it? We give a full picture of all sides from multiple different places so we can get an evolved view of what's going on. Axios is pretty left-wing, mainstream media, so there's probably some crap going on with it. Pentagon boss Pete Hegseth Wednesday will visit the Dominican Republic, close U.S. Caribbean ally, talks on combating drug trafficking amid a standoff between U.S. and Venezuela. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano is erupting again. Lava fountains are flowing. I had hoped I was wrong with my post 4 days ago, but it looks like we are indeed on the edge of Europe's most humiliating moment in history. This is key and critical This was put on hours ago to Subscribe Star and Locals and the kind of stuff. I think it's the kind of thing I can read here, though. So most stuff I put over there, it'd get me kicked off Facebook. It got me kicked off Patreon, if that tells you anything. So I'd hoped I was wrong. I went into detail through all the 28 points of Trump's proposed peace plan for Ukraine, as well as Europe's counterproposal, and some of the clauses proposed by the U.S. are just unbelievable. Take points 4 and 15 of the Trump plan, for instance. 4, dialogue will be held between Russia and NATO, mediated by the United States, to resolve all security issues and create conditions for de-escalation in order to ensure global security and increase opportunities for cooperation and future economic development. 15 is a joint American-Russian working group on security issues that will be established to promote and ensure compliance with all provisions of this agreement. Taken together, what they actually say is that the U.S. won't act as a NATO member anymore, but as a mediator outside of NATO. Per point 15, they'll work with Russia, but not with Europe, within an American-Russian working group on security issues in charge of enforcing the agreement. In effect, this means that Trump is proposing that Washington and Moscow become co-managers of European security, with Europe itself excluded from the mechanism. As such, the agreement that would redraw the entire European security architecture over Europeans' heads. This isn't exaggeration. When asked about European involvement, the White House reportedly said, "We don't really care about the Europeans, as I referenced in the post below. The document merely formalizes that sentiment." Tragedy is the U.S. plan, whatever its flaws, it's a deal. It offers Russia things Russia wants: territory, sanctions relief, NATO freeze, denazification in Ukraine. In exchange for things the U.S. wants: profit extraction, resource deals, geopolitical repositioning. It's cynical but coherent. Both parties get something. That's what a deal is. European counterproposal, however, is not a deal. It's a list of objections that make the arrangement worse for both parties who actually hold the cards. Russia gets less, America gets less. Their counterproposal, which telling nobody even asked them for, remember, they don't really care about the Europeans, simply them ending someone else's document and hoping to be included, because they're idiots. If you have a deal with someone and someone else asks to be included in the deal, but that makes it worse for both of you, would you join? No. Europe could force the U.S. and Russia to exchange the deal if it was significant leverage, but they don't have that. And the other tragedy from a European standpoint, when push comes to shove, there really isn't much one can do against a party that provides your security umbrella, your financial plumbing, your digital infrastructure, and even the LNG that heats your homes, since you sanction Russian gas. But then again, we're dealing with a bunch of arrogant jackasses. Hubert Védrine, France's former foreign minister, has this expression where he accuses Europeans of thinking they inhabit a world of Care Bears, Bisonauers in French, whereas the world actually is closer to being Jurassic Park, and Europe is anything but an apex predator. That's awesome. It's not even one of those large herbivorous dinosaurs. In this analogy, it's closer to being the goat tied to the post. It's freaking fantastic writing. Excuse me. See where Borg is. Oh, 50. Whoa, Borg. Slow down, bud. Court of Justice of the European Union has decided that EU states must recognize same-sex marriages and sign in countries where such things are legal. Gold price, near 2-week high amid reinforced expectations of a Fed rate cut. And the combination of SIM swap attack with a smartphone device that holds a gov.uk app or a digital wallet containing a national digital ID is creating an exceptionally high-risk scenario. This is what the UK is bringing to their people, subjects, I wouldn't say citizens. So in the UK, if an attacker is able to successfully retrieve a victim's recovery reset SMS passcode for one login or another government service, the attacker could then basically control the victim's online government accounts without ever touching the physical device. So, That could be a problem. And as for the rest of the EU, why do they need border checks, facial scans, fingerprints, other restrictions? Who does it benefit? Well, it's not you. It's not me. It's not the countries involved. Who does it benefit? It benefits Klaus. It benefits only those with financial ties to the technology and the power that comes with it. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla has an idea. He said, I really think the best days for Pfizer are ahead of us. Rona was like a dress rehearsal. Thanks, Alex. It's not completely cryptic and dystopian sounding. Russia expands investment options for crypto-linked assets. Hey, layoffs are accelerating. CNBC says that the U.S. labor market is showing further signs of weakening as the pace of layoffs has picked up over the past 4 weeks. Payrolls processing firm ADP reported on Tuesday. Private companies lost an average of 13,500 jobs a week over the past 4 weeks, ADP said, as a part of its running update. USS Gerald R. Ford began to conduct night maneuvers in the Caribbean Sea. According to the Financial Times, Maduro adjusted his security scheme, decreased his public appearances, while the United States maintains a broad naval deployment in the Caribbean. According to the Financial Times, his recent events were organized with little notice and before selected groups, avoiding sharing the stage with high-ranking figures. Maduro's right hand, the General Secretary of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, warned and threatened the United States, saying that anyone who tries to do something against the country and sets foot on Venezuelan territory will be annihilated. And financials. The Dow extends gains to 500-plus points on the day as stocks attempted a three-day rally. S&P 500 is now just 2.5% away from a new all-time high. Dow extends gains to 500-plus points. Oh, that's a doubler. Sorry. You can't make this up. We're quite literally witnessing multi-trillion-dollar tech companies fighting on X over the AI revolution, moving hundreds of billions in market cap. So being on X is an alpha for investors. Bitcoin funds just saw unprecedented outflows. U.S. Bitcoin ETFs have seen $3.55 billion in net outflows so far in November, on track for the largest monthly outflow in history. This is almost in line with the previous monthly record seen in February of $3.58 billion. And hey, look at that. The U.S. middle class is disappearing. It's almost like Klaus wants that. U.S. households with incomes greater than $150,000 adjusted for inflation now make up a record 34% of all households, rising 29 points or percentage points since 1965. At the same time, the middle class has shrunk 11 percentage points to 45%. Funny thing is that making $150,000 isn't like upper class anymore. Everything's so friggin' expensive. Last week's market crash has been erased. S&P 500 now added 250 points since Friday's low, now above the November 20th high before the crash. $2.1 trillion in market cap in less than 3 trading days. Puts the S&P 500 just 2.2% away from a new record. Investment funds are going all in on stocks. Cash levels in U.S. equity mutual funds have declined to 1.2% of total assets, the lowest in the last 20 years. This is below the February low of 1.3% and the 1.5% low seen 2022 bear market. So not good. There you have it. No, I haven't gotten a house yet, PN. Sergeant Rocker. I'm currently living in a garage, literally. If you don't believe me, I'll put up pictures. I have a garage door to my right now. So, and cats that are basically destroying everything. And probably urinating in places we don't know. So, other than that, I mean, honestly, we're doing pretty awesome here now that we've collected our winnings. I took my old beater and got a not quite as bad beater because it was kind of having problems. But anyway, don't drive a car that's new, folks. But yeah, other than that, we're doing all right. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're going to have a nice Thanksgiving. That's your crisis report for November 25th, 2025. Appreciate you guys being here. If you'd like to hit that like button and, help us out, that'd be great. It's not like we have any headwinds on this platform. And maybe you'd like to be like John Dearman or Water Tiger or Bad Bobber and be a member. Definitely helps. And thank you, CR. Appreciate your content. Listen daily for the updates, information. Makis brothers and sisters. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, man. That's the deal, though. So we'll be back again tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to have one. I might not be able to do a nightly. Actually, you know what? I'll do a big one in the afternoon. I think I can get away with that. So I got things going on in the morning and in the night. So we always get it out, don't we? That's right. So we appreciate your patronage, and that's what you're paying for. So go eat some bugs, do what Klaus says, and accept communism because, your God is Google. All right, friends, God bless. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Link in the description if you're thinking about maybe going the gold way of your IRA or 401k. They will help you out. They're a great company, and we are sponsored and helped by them. Other than that, friends, we appreciate you being here, and we will see you on the next one.